I'm your host, Ashleigh Clyde, reporting for Kids First. Today, we have an incredible opportunity to speak with two masterminds behind the cinematic adaptation of Peter Brown's best-selling book, The Wild Robot. The brilliant director, Chris Sanders, known for his writing in Lilo and Stitch, The Croods, and How to Train Your Dragon, and the talented producer, Jeff Hermann, known for the Kung Fu Panda film series, Boss Baby Family Business, and The Wild Robot, which is available on digital now and releases on DVD December 3rd, 2024. Welcome to the show, Chris and Jeff. Okay, so starting with my first question, this is posed for Chris. The Wild Robot is such a beloved story. What inspired you to take on the challenge of adapting it from book to screen?
When I dropped into DreamWorks to see what they had in development and they showed me this book, the very briefest description of it made me feel like this is the right story for me. It was a good match. I think the thing about it, it has these wonderful, fanciful characters living in a relatively fanciful place, which is this deep forest. But all the things that are happening are things that are very relatable and very human. And at the core of the whole thing was a story about a robot who becomes an accidental mom. And moms are pretty traditionally absent from animated films is kind of a thing, right? So the idea that at the core of the story there was a mother and a motherhood tale was just another reason that I think I got really excited about working on this.
And it's the film is just beautifully done. And because this also was adapted from book to screen, I am aware that this is the first book out of three by Peter Brown. Is there a possibility that we may get a sequel?
There's always a possibility. There's always a hope, and there's a lot of excitement, I think, on all sides for that possibility, and hopefully that gets to happen down the road. So, yeah, stay tuned.
And Jeff, this next question is for you. So storytelling in animation allows for just limitless creativity where really the world is your oyster, but it also in some facets poses like a challenge of translating those complex human emotions through those animated visuals. So how did you approach capturing Roz's internal journey in a way that really resonates deeply with viewers?
First up, I think we have to credit Lupita Nyong'o for the vocal performance that she provides, because she's doing so much of the heavy lifting there in terms of conveying where Roz is at any given point in the story through her voice. And that was a journey as well that Lupita and Chris collaborated on quite closely for many years to find just the right evolution of that performance, because she has to start from someplace that has no emotion, but also isn't what we think of as robotic, but where we kind of landed there was like a Siri voice or an Alexa voice, very, very cheerful. I think we called it an engineered optimism. And then gradually through the course of the story, there's a little more of that subsiding and a little more emotion coming into her voice as the movie progresses. And that helps in lots of ways. And then I think the animators, secondly, bring so much to the overall performance of Roz's body language, conveying stuff through her posture, through her movements. And then there's a third piece, which is very minor, but if you watch the movie again, watch her eyes. And there's a lot going on with the little LED displays in her eyes that varies depending on what she's going through at any given moment. I think all of those things together help to create an overall cohesive performance that's actually quite extraordinary, because it's done by so many people at different points along the way.
Thank you for that. And I will say that when you were talking about Roz's emotions, I was thinking about those LED lights and I was thinking about her eyes. And one thing that's really interesting too, looking back of when I first watched the movie, I didn't even notice that she didn't have a mouth, which is actually pretty incredible. So yeah. That's really cool. And so the next question is for both of you. So if you were both stranded on Roz's island, which character from the film would you want by your side and why? Chris, do you want to start?
I guess always Fink, despite his sometimes he has some moral flexibility here and there. I think that he's my favorite.
I think I would go with Roz. I think having Roz around is pretty handy. Even though she doesn't always understand where she might be, she always comes through, and she has lots of gadgets, and she can make me a house and she can keep me warm. I'm going with Roz.
I'm sorry, I have to go with Roz too. I'm not sure if I would trust him. I agree. And also, in terms of also staying on the topic of identity and belonging, we can't forget about Brightbill and
Mhm.
his journey of self-discovery. What do you hope young audiences will learn about embracing their differences from watching this film?
I mean, I think that's you're getting right to the core of it, right? Is that we're kind of celebrating the fact that being different doesn't shouldn't hold you back or shouldn't stop you from discovering who you are or being who you are. And Bright Bill's story is so emblematic of that, right? And you know the fact that he was considered a runt of the litter, that he had disadvantages that made it harder for him to swim and fly, but he overcame all those things, and not by trying to be like everybody else, but by being himself.
Right.
Such an important theme for all of us, right? To continue to remember and to put out there. And you know, one of my favorite lines in the movie is when Bright Bill's getting ready to leave on the migration, and Fink says to him, "Fly like you, not like them." I mean, that's just such
Yeah,
a beautiful moment that I think we can all relate to.
absolutely. And my last question for both of you is, especially in this political climate that we're in right now and in our increasingly polarized world, what do you hope The Wild Robot can teach viewers, both young and old, about the importance of openness and understanding when encountering those who are different from ourselves?
Yeah, certainly Peter wrote this beautiful theme into the film. One of the load-bearing, I think, pillars of the film is the idea that you may have to change your programming at some point, but it doesn't make you not you. It doesn't change who you are. It just makes you a better version of who you are. And I think that it's something that I know I can say personally, I don't like change. I think it's a human thing to hate
Yeah.
change. I think people resist it. But inevitably, I think when I've had to go through some giant changes, it has been a positive thing. So there's this, of course, there's this particular moment in the film when the animals are in that lodge during a winter storm, and they all have to realize that if they don't make some adjustments real quick, they're not going to make it through this whole thing. So there's just
Right.
it's, I love that moment. I think it's just this. That's the thing that I find very relatable to many things outside the film.
Yeah,
Right.
just all the themes of kindness and empathy and tolerance and community, and how this story really helps people. I hope, you know, that's the hope for all of us, is that those elements and those being the key to our mutual survival is something that I think we can all uh, have as a takeaway from this film, and hopefully, you know, find a practical way to apply that in real life.
Right, absolutely. And again, this film is coming in such a time where we have AI and technology and everything also else going on in the world. And I think that's really one of the reasons why it's just blowing up in the theaters right now. My mom watched it like a week ago. She loves it.
Mhm.
So I want to thank you guys for just producing this amazing film. It really resonated with me, and I'm pretty sure it will with other younger audiences as well. So thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ashleigh. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris Sanders and Jeff Hermann, for joining us today and sharing all these amazing insights about The Wild Robot. Audiences can experience this heartwarming adventure on digital now and on DVD December 3rd, 2024. I'm Ashleigh Clyde, reporting for Kids First. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on another review or interview just like this one. Thanks for watching. Bye.